host of the Gridiron.
Yeah. New York teams delivering historic futility. So another article. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just not so much poor Darius Slayton right there. I really feel bad for the guy. Yeah, I mean, it's just some of these players that just been come through here with the Giants. You just feel bad for them. You know what I mean? When Saquon was here, obviously, it's a shame because Saquon with all of his the time he spent here, was usually just bad teams. We went to the playoffs the one time, of course, and we want to get blown out by the Eagles, right? But I mean, usually it's almost like you're just wasting the dude's career. I mean, not that Slayton is on the same par as a Saquon, but it's a shame. I mean, Darius Slayton is his sixth season. Somewhere along the line, he's got a few. I mean, of course, he's got a few more years left in him. Hopefully somebody, if it's not the Giants, hopefully he'll go someplace next year, get a little payday, maybe sign a 2-year, 3-year deal with another team. Hopefully, maybe make a little bit more than $6 million a year, right? And wherever he goes, I'm pulling for him. The guy's been a class act, great guy and all that stuff. And I wish him nothing the best. But once again, it's just I hope he doesn't. But we will have to wait and see. But the Giants here, I mean, this is so you have the New York teams are a wretched hive of malfunction and pain. The Jets and Giants are delivering historic futility to New York NFL fans with no end in sight. The standing Sunday afternoon rule at Bleecker Street Bar remains defiantly unchanged. I don't know where Bleecker Street Bar is. The big televisions at the Tavern on Broadway show the New York Giants and Jet games, no matter their record or the degree to which they test their fans' sanity. The screens stay tuned to them until what will be, with staggering probability, a bitter end. Oh, yeah, you got that right. At our bar, we keep the games on, manager Robert Lakow said. We like to torture our clients. We don't replace New York games in a New York bar. We watch it to the very end, and we enjoy the pain that we share with one another. For New York football fans this season, pain and losing have come in abundance. The Jets and Giants have shared a city for more than 6 decades, yet the football-like substance oozing out of New York is unprecedented in its futility. Both franchises have 3 or fewer victories through 13 games for the first time since 1980. Their 192 combined winning percentage would surpass the 214 mark of the 1976 season. Their combined 5-21 record matches 2020 when the Jets were winless and the Giants stood at 5-8. As the worst in New York's history to this point in the season. It is possible, albeit improbable, that they will finish with the 2 worst records in the NFL and pick first and second in the draft for the first time ever. Obviously, once again, the gap. Right? Last Sunday, Plum flew over to MetLife Stadium with a message for Giants owner John Mara. Mr. Mara, enough. Please fix this dumpster fire. As kickoff approached, tickets could be bought on the secondary market for $1 or $2. This week, the Giants were 16.5-point underdogs against the Ravens. It's a running joke almost now, said former Giants personnel executive Mark Ross, now an NFL Network analyst. When I get there, the Giants always made fun of the Jets for being so bad, but now both of them have been at the bottom for so many years of misery. Though the season has plumbed new depths, it is the continuation of joint spiral. Since 2020, the Jets have the worst point differential in the league, minus 564, and the Giants are third worst, minus 481. So basically, between the Giants and the Jets, since 2020 combined, their point differential is over a minus 1,000. I mean, talk about unbelievable. Jets have not been to playoffs in 14 years. Wow. The longest drought in major North American sports. Let that sink into your head. Since 2011, the Jets and Giants have just a single season, each with double-digit wins. The only other NFL franchises similarly afflicted are Jacksonville and Washington, which is 2 victories from exiting that club. In the past decade, the Jets and Giants have combined for 10 coaches, counting interim coaches, 22 starting quarterbacks, and 1 playoff victory. 2 of those totals are certain to increase in Week 1 next season. Despite the Giants' 4 Super Bowl titles, New York owns a punishing professional football history. The Jets and Giants have both finished with winning records 9 times in 65 seasons. They both won a playoff in the same season just once. That was 1986. That was before the Jets. They won a playoff game. I think they beat the Chiefs. Then they got knocked out in overtime against the Browns. That was a tough loss. Then they lost it. They were beating the Browns, I think 20-10, I think it was, with like 5 minutes to go in the game. And they gave up like 2 scores in the final 5 minutes of the game. Descended in overtime. Then, of course, they lost it in overtime. I was kind of hoping that season, 86, would be the Giants and the Jets in the Super Bowl. But never came to be. The most comparable indignity to this season occurred in 1976. After 3 preseason losses, Jets coach Lou Holtz, fresh from college, said, "If I knew that coaching in the pros was this tough, I never would have taken the job." The Jets' home opener did not sell out in time to prevent a local television blackout. In advance of Week 5, a New York Times headline aiming for his job said, Jets and Giants 0-8, likely to be 0-10 on Sunday. The Jets defied the Gray Lady and won their first game that week. The Giants would lose their first 9 games in 1976. Both teams finished 3-11 in the 14-game regular season. But 4 weeks ago, this year's version of New York Pro Football is on pace to be worse. See, the Jets fired coach Robert Lakow after falling to 2-3. Rodgers has flashed occasional signs of his former excellence between spells of looking shoddy and blaming teammates, which he always does. Clients come in with their Jets gear knowing that Aaron Rodgers is going to screw this up again, Lakow said. People consider him a curse for the Jets at this point. The Jets have faltered in almost every crucial moment, going 0-7 in games decided by 6 points or fewer. Yep. It starts to feel like we have a losing problem, like a gene or something, Jets wideout Garrett Wilson said after Sunday's overtime loss at Miami. The Jets' nature and the Giants' nature nosedive suggests that they have happened on parallel tracks. Both rosters have been mismanaged. Both ownerships have erred in consistent and often spectacular fashions, but the mistakes have been different and separate aside from geography. All the decisions are bad decisions, Ross said. It's really a coincidence that it's at the same time. I don't think there's anything in the water in Jersey or the Meadowlands or anything like that. Patrons have not stopped showing up to Bleecker Street Bar and Giants and especially Jets gear, Lakow said. Fans don't stop being fans no matter how much reason their teams provide. They may seek solace in unexpected places, such as another New York State team. Lakow has noticed more and more roars in the bar when the Bills win. There's a lot of disgruntled Giants and Jet fans that are backing Buffalo as a replacement. Well, good. I'll tell you what, if Buffalo, were to wind up winning, I'm happy with that. As long as nobody but no Eagles and no Chiefs. The Bills win, good for them. Really, really good for them. And then of course, there's also this year. Vegas goes, and it just kind of shows you, right? That there's no love at all for the Giants or the Jets, especially from Vegas. As Vegas insults Tommy DeVito in a way that NFL hasn't seen in decades. Giants have made history this week, but not the kind Big Blue fans hope for. Vegas has favored the Baltimore Ravens by 16.5 points over Tommy DeVito and the G-Men, marked the largest NFL spread this season. The previous record this year was the Detroit Lions as a 14-point favorite over Jacksonville in Week 11. The Lions easily covered 52-6. Last time a team was favored by more than 16 points occurred last season when the Cowboys covered a 17.5-point spread in Week 10 against the Giants. And ironically, DeVito was the starting quarterback. The Cowboys were dominated. The Cowboys were dominated. 49. No, Cowboys were dominant. 49, or the Giants were dominated 49-17. Tommy Cutler turned to start because both Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor were injured. Vegas insults Tommy DeVito and the Giants by making them 16-point underdogs for the second time in consecutive seasons. As they just said, right? DeVito will start again Sunday in place of Drew Lock. The veteran is dealing with a heel injury and is wearing a walking boot. Giants head coach Brian Daboll stated earlier in the week that Lock would be the starter if healthy. However, after Lock failed to practice on Wednesday, the team officially named Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan this week's starting quarterback. Not only are Big Blue and DeVito 16-point underdogs in back-to-back season, but this marks the first time in over 50 years the Giants are 14-plus point underdogs at home. Last time instance came in 1966 when the Giants were 16.5-point underdogs against the St. Louis Cardinals. Despite losing only 20-17, the Giants managed to cover the spread that particular day, offering a glimmer of hope for fans looking for history to repeat itself. Typically, fans are inclined to back the home team against the spread, but the Giants have hit a new all-time low as a home team. Being this heavily favored against a home team hasn't occurred since 2021. Since 2019, only 2 of the 7 largest home spreads have been covered, highlighting how rare and humiliating it is for a home team to face odds like these. Giants are 4-9 against the spread this season, tied for the second worst record in the league behind the Titans. Vegas has struggled to figure out Tennessee as they are 2-11 against the spread this season. For the Giants, an 8-game losing streak looms large over Sunday's matchup. However, DeVito and Big Blue will look to snap that streak and defy both the odds and the critics against the dominant Ravens squad. No, that's not happening. Quite possibly, maybe, right, for the for the Giants, right? I mean, maybe they can cover the spread, right? If they lose by 10, that might be like I don't know. Somehow they can score 17 points and lose 27-17. That might be like a moral victory, right? I mean, once again, you look at just like there's, the 1 or 2 plays that went the Giants' way this season, like the one when Isaiah Simmons jumped over the line, blocked the Seahawk trying game-tying field goal. Bryce Ford Wheaton picked it up, ran it back for a touchdown, right? That might be the one highlight, the only one highlight for the Giants all season long. Well, it backfired on them last week, right? I mean, the Giants, 14-3, went down, scored a touchdown. I think they got their first 2-point conversion all season long to make it 14-11. Held serve, they got the ball back. I think then they kicked and they got the ball back again. And finally they marched down the field, right, looking for that improbable tying field goal. And of course, the guy jumps over the line, blocks the field goal. Yeah. So it is what it is. But once again, it just seems like whatever can go against the Giants. It's going against the Giants. I mean, everything's going against the Giants this year. So.